Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes your questions, looks at the sources you share, and really tries to figure out what's actually going on. And today, wow, we're tackling something that's really got people talking. Julia Garner being cast as the Silver Surfer. Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Now look, I get it. The immediate reaction for a lot of folks online was, oh great, here we go again, another gender swap.
That was definitely the first wave of comments.
But, when we started digging into the source material that you, our listeners, sent over, it became pretty clear there's actually a much richer story here, something more grounded in the comics.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's easy to jump to that simple conclusion, isn't it? But the sources, they really do reveal this fascinating precedent. It goes way beyond just, a simple alteration.
Okay, so let's unpack this properly. For anyone listening who maybe isn't, super deep into every corner of Marvel cosmic stuff.
Fair enough. It gets complicated.
Right. So the original Silver Surfer, the one most people think of, that's Norrin Radd.
Yeah.
From the planet Zenn-La. And a huge part of his origin story, his whole reason for being the Surfer, it revolves around his beloved Shalla-Bal.
Absolutely central. She's why he makes the deal with Galactus in the first place. He sacrifices himself, becomes the herald, all to save Zenn-La and to save her.
Okay. But here's where it gets interesting based on these sources.
Right, because what's truly insightful here, and maybe not common knowledge, is that while Norrin Radd is, the main guy in the main Marvel universe, that's Earth 616, Shalla-Bal herself has actually been the Silver Surfer.
Wait, really? She's been the Surfer?
Yeah, in alternate comic book realities and storylines.
Yeah.
And these weren't just quick cameos either. She really embodies the role, but maybe with a slightly different angle.
Huh. Okay, like where? Give us an example.
Well, the big one that comes up in the sources is the Earth X series.
Earth X, right? I remember that. Sort of a dark future thing.
Exactly. And in that one, Shalla-Bal actually takes on the Silver Surfer role right alongside Norrin Radd. They're both surfers.
Both of them?
Yeah. And get this, in that story, she even serves as a herald of Galactus. But the twist there is Galactus isn't the big purple guy we usually think of.
Oh.
In that reality, Galactus is actually a transformed Franklin Richards.
Franklin Richards. Reed and Sue's kids, seriously.
Seriously. Yeah, the son of Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. He gets immense cosmic power in that specific storyline. It basically becomes Galactus. It's wild.
Wow. Okay. Earth X sounds intense. Any other examples?
Yeah. The sources also mentioned appearances in some What If comics, those stories, exploring alternate possibilities.
Sorry, yeah.
And in some of those, she also took on that cosmic role, wielding the power cosmic, that massive energy Galactus gives his heralds.
Okay. So the initial reaction, the gender swap thing, it feels like maybe people just didn't know this history existed.
I think that's a big part of it.
So how does the Shalla-Bal history make the movie casting feel, well, more grounded, not just a change for change's sake?
Precisely. Because it shows this isn't a case of just taking a male character, changing the gender, and calling it a day with no basis in the actual source material.
Right.
Shalla-Bal is already there. She's a well-established character. She's significant to the Silver Surfer's whole deal. And these sources, they point to explicit comic book examples where she gets the power cosmic, she rides the board, she acts as the herald.
So the adaptation is actually pulling from a real, if maybe less famous, part of her comic book life.
Exactly. It proves there's a whole bench of possibilities within the lore itself for these roles.
Yeah.
It's not just Norrin Radd or nothing.
That is genuinely fascinating. It completely reframes the casting decision. So what does this actually mean for the movie then? If it's Shalla-Bal, can they still capture that core essence of the Silver Surfer story?
Oh, absolutely. The core elements, they should be fully expected to remain intact.
Like what?
Well, first off, the Herald of Galactus role. She'd still be that being, the one arriving ahead of Galactus, signaling doom for a planet. That core function is the same. Her origin is still tied intrinsically to Zenn-La, to that sacrifice made to save it from Galactus. Maybe her sacrifice, maybe Norrin's, maybe something different, but Zenn-La and Galactus are key.
Right, the core dilemma.
Exactly. So that emotional core of the Silver Surfer, themes of being forced into servitude, making immense sacrifices, that internal conflict between your duty and your conscience. All of that can still be explored fully through Shalla-Bal.
Maybe even more intensely.
You could argue that. Imagine the weight she carries. If she's the surfer because of Norrin's sacrifice for her, or if she made the sacrifice herself. It adds layers. It's not just duty. It could be this really personal cosmic penance or burden.
Yeah, I can see that. And visually.
Oh, visually and power-wise, yeah, she's still the Silver Surfer. Gleaming silver, riding the cosmic surfboard, wielding the power cosmic. That iconic imagery stays.
Okay, that makes sense. And you mentioned this opens up some narrative potential, too, beyond just keeping the themes.
Definitely. I mean, using Shalla-Bal, it just gives you a fresh lens, doesn't it? A different perspective on that relationship with Galactus.
How so?
Well, maybe her view of Galactus is different. If she's seen Norrin's sacrifice, maybe her servitude is more tragic, or maybe her eventual rebellion is even more potent.
Or maybe Norrin Radd isn't in the picture initially in this version.
Could be. Or maybe he shows up later. Imagine the drama then. What if Norrin Radd exists and he finds out his beloved Shalla-Bal is the surfer now? The very thing he might have become or tried to save her from.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, that's some serious dramatic potential right there.
It really is. So you could almost say Shalla-Bal has been kind of waiting in the wings of the comics for decades, waiting for her cosmic moment.
Talk about a long game. Okay, so wrapping this part up then, the key takeaway for you listening right now is basically this. Next time someone mentions the Julia Garner casting and says, just another gender swap, you can actually say, well, hold on. You can confidently explain that the movie seems to be adapting a specific comic book version, one where Shalla-Bal, who's already a major character in the Surfer's story, actually becomes the Silver Surfer herself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just highlights how deep the Marvel Comics lore really goes.
Yeah.
It shows that smart adaptations, they often pull from these less obvious, but still totally valid corners of a character's history. It enriches the whole thing rather than watering it down.
Yeah.
It shows there's a clear foundation in the comics for this. It's not some baseless change just for kicks.
And that is why we do the deep dive. It's designed to be your shortcut, to get you past the noise and give you the real context, the surprising facts, so you can talk about this stuff with, well, real insight.
Absolutely. And maybe it leaves us with a bigger question to think about, right, for you, the listener.
Oh, go on.
Well, how might exploring these lesser-known comic book precedents, like with Shalla-Bal here, actually change how we receive future adaptations? Does it make us more open to different takes? And what does it really tell us about just how vast and adaptable this comic book lore is, beyond just the most famous, most repeated versions of these characters we always see? Something to chew on.